In this video, we are going to discuss how constructors can be defined in the derived classes. The constructors can also be defined in the subclasses or in the derived classes. These constructors will be invoked when the objects are created. We know that a constructor of a class will be invoked when the object of a class will be created. Now, this video is going to describe how the subclass constructors are to be defined, and if we have values to be passed, how it can be passed to both subclass as well as the base class. Now, all of us know that the purpose of the constructor is to pass some initial values to the data members or the data fields. If we want to set or initial values, or if you want to initialize a data field, we define a constructor for a class. We have also discussed different types of constructors. We can have a default constructor overridden, or we can have parameterized constructor, we can have static constructor. All these things we have discussed in our previous videos. So today we are going to talk about how the constructors can be defined for base class as well as for the subclasses. Now, if the purpose of the constructor is to pass values to the data members, and one important condition we know that the base class constructors will not be inherited to the subclass. If so, how do you pass values to the base class constructor when you create an object of a derived class? Because the base class constructors may also have parameters to receive the initial values. But when you create an object of a derived class, how you can pass the values to the base class constructor also. So this is what we are going to discuss in this video. Now, if I want to pass initial values to the base class constructor also, we have to invoke the base class constructor explicitly to pass these values. I repeat, I want to create an object of a subclass, but the subclass is having a constructor defined on its own. It is also having a constructor for a base class also. If so, when you pass values to the subclass constructor, you have to invoke the base class constructor explicitly to pass the values. So if I want to explicitly invoke the base class constructor, we are going to use the base keyword in the subclass, and it is used to pass the values to the base class. The derived class inherits the base class members, all the member variables as well as the member methods. Therefore, the superclass object should be created before the subclass is created. So these are the points that you have to remember. We will be discussing an example also, then it will be more clear for you how to invoke the base class constructors. Let us see a demo program. I open a demo program here. Let me increase the size. We are going to talk about subclass constructors, and first I am going to declare a base class. I declare a base class, and you are going to declare the class as abstract class. For the time being, just forget about abstract class. What is abstract we will be discussing later. Here in the abstract class, what I am going to do, I am going to define, this is a base class I am defining. I have 3 data members and I have a constructor also. The constructor here is a parameterized constructor. So what I do here, I pass 3 values for name, age and gender, and I am initializing the data fields name, age, gender. These are the data fields or data members, and I pass some initial values to the parameterized constructor, and I assign these initial values to the data members or the data fields. So this is what I do in the base class. Now I go to declare a subclass. I declare a subclass called the soccer player, and I am going to inherit the properties of the sports player. Now the soccer player has its own data field, unique data field, which is position, and this is also having a constructor, subclass constructor, soccer player name, the same name as that of the class, then the public as the access modifier. Then I am passing 4 values here. I am passing 4 values. Why we are passing 4 values? Because the soccer player has one data field as position and 3 inherited data fields like name, age and gender. So totally this class is having 4 data fields. So these 4 data fields, if I want to initialize, I am passing it to a parameterized constructor. Then what do you do? After which I am going to invoke the base class constructor explicitly. How do you invoke it? In the constructor, have colon, then use the base as the constructor name. This is a keyword. Base is the keyword, and you are going to invoke the base class constructor. Which is the base class constructor? This is the base class constructor. So to invoke this base class constructor, I need to pass 3 arguments. So what I do? The name, age and gender, which are the base class data members, I am passing by invoking the base class constructor using the keyword base, and I pass these 3 arguments explicitly. So this will be invoking the base class constructor and assign the values name, age and gender. Then inside the subclass constructor, I am assigning the position, which is passed as an argument with value p. So now you can understand here, even though you are passing 4 arguments to the subclass, you pass the 3 arguments to the base class constructor, and only 1 argument is taken for the derived class constructor. So this is what we are going to do when you are going to invoke a base class constructor in the derived class. So this is the default constructor where I am not giving any code for it. I am not giving any code for this. Then if I want to create an object, what I do? This is a derived class. I create an object and I am going to use a new operator to create the object, and I invoke the constructor. So when I invoke the constructor, what I am doing? I am passing 4 arguments. What are the 4 arguments? Name, age, gender and position. These are the 4 arguments I am going to pass. And when I invoke this constructor, what it will do? It will indirectly go and invoke the subclass constructor. Whenever it is having a base class constructor invoked, first the base class constructor will be invoked. Only then it will be processing the subclass constructor. So what happens? It goes to the base class constructor, name, age and gender will be assigned. Then it comes out of the base class constructor. Then it will be processing these steps. So the position will be assigned only after assigning name, age and gender. Okay. So this is how a derived class constructor will be explicitly invoking the base class constructor. So what you do? You define a base class. Then in the derived class, the constructor will be accompanied with a base keyword to invoke the base class constructor. Then if you want to create a derived class object, you have to pass all the arguments which will be used by both base class as well as the derived class. So this is how we will be creating and defining a subclass constructor. Okay. So if you want, let us go back to the definition. Subclass constructor can be defined which will be invoked when the objects are created. The purpose of a constructor is to pass initial values to the data members. Since the base class constructors are not inherited, and if I want to pass values to the base class constructor, what we have to do? We have to invoke the base class constructor explicitly using the base keyword in the subclass, and you can pass values to the base class. The derived class inherits the base class member variables as well as the member methods. Therefore, the superclass object should be created before the subclass is created. So what happens? The superclass constructor will be invoked, only then the subclass constructor will be invoked, for which we have seen a demo program also. Next one, you can also have parameterless constructor on the derived class. So here in our example, we have seen only a parameterized constructor for the derived class. But if you want to have a parameterless constructor, that is also allowed for the derived class. But still you need to pass arguments to the base class constructor, provided the base class is having a parameterized constructor. What we have done, we are defining a default constructor which is a parameterless constructor. I am not passing any value to the default constructor, but the base class is having only a parameterized constructor defined. So if I want to pass values, you can set some default values here and you can pass them to the base class constructor. So these are some of the default values here. Default name, default age can be set as 0, and default name, age, and what is the other one? Position. And what was the other one? Gender. The other one is gender. So what we do here, for name, default name will be passed. For age, 0 will be passed. For gender, no value will be passed. So these are the three values passed to the base class constructor, and the derived class will not have any data defined, and you are not going to assign any value. So this is how we will be having parameterized and parameterless constructor on the derived class, which will be explicitly invoking the base class constructor using the base keyword. Apart from that, you can invoke base class constructor in the multi-level also. In the multi-level also you can invoke. So if I want to invoke if I want to invoke base class constructor in the multi-level, let us see how it can be implemented in a program. I am having a program here to illustrate the concept of multi-level inheritance. The class is defined as shape, which is a base class, and it is having width and length assets, data fields. I have a constructor public shape where I am assigning, which is a default constructor, no arguments are there, and I am assigning 0 to width and length. I have a parameterized constructor with 2 arguments, width and length, that is assigned to the data fields here. I have another constructor which is having only 1 argument, so that you can have it for a square or so. Width and length will be equal in that case. And I am defining a property here. Properties and indexes we have already discussed. I am defining a property here. So getter method will be returning the width, and the setter method will be assigning value. If the value is lesser than 0, so you can observe here we have also discussed inside the properties we can manipulate the value. So that is what is done here. We are using a ternary operator. If the value is lesser than 0, you are going to negate it so that you get the absolute value. If it is greater than 0, assign the value as it is to the width. In the same way, you are defining another property called as length. In the getter method, you return the length value, and in the setter method, again you check whether it is less than 0. If so, negate the value, otherwise the positive value will be assigned. Then you are defining a method called display dimension just to display what is the value of width and length. So this is how I am defining a base class. Now let us see how it is defined in the derived class. So in the derived class, what I have done, the class is inheriting the properties of shape. Rectangle inherits the properties of shape. So already shape is having width and length. What I do here, I am just adding a style as another data member for the rectangle, and in rectangle class defines a default constructor. So this default constructor will be automatically invoking the default constructor of shape, because shape is have the base class for rectangle. So I am not going to explicitly specify, since it will be automatically invoking it, no issues. And there is no parameter defined for this also. So parameter less constructor will be invoked here. So it will have width and length set with value 0, and the style will be set with null value. I am defining another parameterized constructor for rectangle, where I am passing the style and width as well as length, which is a parameterized constructor for rectangle. So the style I am assigning here, whereas width and length I am passing it to the base class constructor. For a square, what I am doing, I am defining another constructor which is having only one argument, and the style will be always square. Since both width and length are equal to y, you invoke the base class constructor by passing only y value. So you have this which will be invoked, and the y will be assigned to width and length. Then you have area method, which will be returning width and length, area of the rectangle, and you can display the style of the particular rectangle also. And the third level is a color rectangle, which is inheriting the properties of rectangle, and you will be having, already rectangle is having 3 parameters. What are they? Width, length and style. Now I am adding another property called, another attribute or another data member, which I call as the color of the rectangle. So now if I want to define a constructor here in the third level, I pass 4 values. What are the 4 values? The color, the style, width and length. And the color I am assigning here, and in the base class I am passing style and width, length. So it will go here. When it goes here, style, width, length will be passed, which will be indirectly invoking the base class constructor with width and length. So it goes here. So this constructor will be invoked first, so that width and length will be assigned. Then it comes to the next level, which is rectangle. Here it will be assigning the style. After that it goes here. Then it will be assigning the color value. Then I have a method called display color, which will be displaying the color of the rectangle. Now let us go to the main program. In the main program, we are going to create 2 rectangles. One will be of regular rectangle. the other one will be a square. So if I want to create a regular rectangle, what I do? I invoke the color rectangle constructor, and I have to pass 4 values. What are they? Color of the rectangle, style of the rectangle, width and length. If I want to create a square, what I do? Color of the square and pass square as the value, or you need not pass this value because we are going to set it explicitly here as square itself. Then pass width and length which are equal, or you can pass only one value. So what you can do? Either you can pass it like this, or the other way is, in the color rectangle you have to pass C, string S, W and length. That is why we are going to use this particular format. And for square, if you want, you can define something like this, passing only one value here also, only the color and the length and width, or you can say it is the side of the square, only the color and side of the square. If you pass, you can go and invoke this method also. This is also possible. You can define one more constructor here for color square. Then what I do? I just display the value details of rectangle 1. So you invoke the display style method, invoke the display dim method, invoke the display color method. So display color method is having in the 3rd level, display style is in the 2nd level, and in the 1st level we have display dim. So all these members are invoked by the object R1 because all these methods are inherited. Then you can define the area of the shape. And here also we are displaying the details of R2. The same way we invoke the style, dim, color method, and we invoke the area method to display the area. So this is how you are going to have multi-level subclass constructors being invoked. So whenever you have this kind of inheritance, the base keyword will be invoking the constructor of the immediate superclass. The base keyword will be invoking the constructor of the immediate superclass. So for color rectangle, which is the immediate superclass, rectangle is the immediate superclass. So this base will be invoking the constructor of rectangle. And for rectangle, what is the immediate base class? Shape is the immediate base class. So this base keyword will be invoking the constructor of the base class called as shape. This is how multi-level inheritance will be working on the constructors of base class as well as the derived class. And we have also seen hierarchical inheritance is also supported in C#. So this is what you call as hierarchical inheritance. One class is derived by more than one subclasses. So this is another example. Sports is one class which is derived by hockey, football and cricket. So all the properties of sports will be derived by all these 3 classes. Then for football, again you can have 2 different classes, junior football team and senior football team. So senior football team will be inheriting the properties of football. Football will be inheriting the properties of sports. So there are lots of examples available. You can just go through all these examples for the hierarchical inheritance, and when we discuss about the sample programs, we will also be talking about how this hierarchical and multi-level inheritance are implemented in C#. Some demo programs we will be discussing later. So with that, we are completing the subclass constructor concept in C#. We will discuss runtime polymorphism and method runtime polymorphism and method overriding in the next video. Thank you.